Okay, it's back on.
All right, first item up on the agenda is patrons' concern due to the COVID guidance. We are limiting access to the meetings in accordance, and we did have one patron's concern letter submitted to the board. This was submitted by Jared Kester. I'll read the letter that he sent to the MSD of North Posey County School Board. Across the country and around the world, people have been standing up and speaking out against police brutality and racism in the United States immediately following the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis on May 25th, 2020. This movement has also been in response to the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and countless other people of color who have suffered and died at the hands of white supremacy, police violence, and systemic racism inherent in our social institutions. In light of other school districts engaging in conversations of racial equality and fighting for justice, the Metropolitan School District of North Posey County has remained silent. As a concerned alumnus and community member, I believe that it is necessary that the school district ends its silence and engages in this conversation. As well as other members of the North Posey community, expect the school district to speak out against racial injustice, to empower students to further their education regarding racial inequalities and systemic racism, and to enact tangible policies to address and fight racism within your schools. For Black students and alumni, and for people of color in our communities, I urge you to do better and to actively condemn racism and create a space where students feel comfortable, safe, and welcome to learn, and alongside their peers. Silence on racial issues, which has been the school district's action thus far, will make the MSD of North Posey County complicit in furthering systemic racism in our educational institutions, and your students deserve better. I'm willing to start a petition to gather more support from students, parents, alumni, and community members calling for action from the school district. Please respond if you have any questions or would like to start a conversation with me. Jared Kester, North Posey High School, class of 2016.
Well, I just wanted to assure that board, I know you're aware that we do have policies and procedures in place currently to address racism and discrimination, and those policies and practices are annually and routinely audited by the Office of Civil Rights. And I know that we annually go through our policies as well. But I think we're at a time of social unrest, obviously, and it is a time to dive deeper into our current policies and practices and how we can expand upon the inclusiveness of our students of color. So we're looking at our Title IX final rule, policies and procedures that we're going to put into place. So if we form a committee to address that, then we could go ahead and look at our current policies and practices and see if we can make some additional items or add to what we have in place now. One thing that we had talked about in response to the social unrest is adding more routine professional development for our teachers. Normally we do that at the beginning of the school year. It's not one of the required things as far as required by the state, but it's something that we could add. And so we're looking into that now, in addition to the review.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Warmula. Dr. Bender. I can't believe I did that after all this time.
Oh,
I knew I'd blow tonight.
next item on the agenda is the minutes, claim docket, consent items previously sent to you regarding the minutes from the May 11th meeting and the claim docket for May 11th to June 8th, as well as a number of resignations and hires. I entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the consent items as listed.
I'll second that.
So, motion by Mr. Schmidt and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the consent items. I do want to take just a second and recognize Mrs. Exline, who is part of the retirements listed. She has 32 years of service to the corporation. She's currently in the technology support at South Terrace, and so we definitely want to thank her for her service and wish her the best in her retirement. Anybody else have any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0. And that's customary. We have a card for Mrs. Exline that we can all sign and get out to her.
We have, we're down to new business. We have some ads, as I've explained to the board. We did, late Friday afternoon, get some things in. We've got, back from the state, the ability to enter into an agreement with Airmark. Jake Reekin, our technology coordinator, has a contract with Lane Company to upgrade our copiers that I need to add. Also, late Friday, we got some guidance from the state on reopening school. And we also, Dr. Bender is going to talk a little bit about an update of our Title IX. No action will be needed on the review of the guidance or the Title IX tonight, but wanted to make sure we talked about that. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Bender for the Airmark.
Okay, so I received back on Friday the food services management agreement that has been approved by the Indiana Department of Education. So this simply means that they have approved that we can go forward to enter into year 2 of the Airmark contract. Now, we do have a change in the minimum guarantee. If you recall, last time, the first year, their minimum guarantee was $88,000. That has been reduced to $23,852. The reason for the reduction is twofold. One, we hired additional staff in our cafeteria, and the $88,000 was based on the prior number of cafeteria workers, and we added staff. So that will reduce that number of minimum guarantee. The other thing is just simply the days that they're serving food, because we had a shorter school year. And at the time that she had to draft a minimum guarantee, she wasn't for sure. And we just got guidance on Friday about if we would open school up on time and if we were looking at a 180-day school year. So that's the reasoning behind their $23,852 minimum guarantee. But if you recall that when we opened this up for a vendor bid, Chartwell came in at around $25,000 minimum guarantee, and that was prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. So I think this is fair offer at this point. So I would like to ask the board to enter into a year 2 agreement with Airmark on the food services management contract.
We have to entertain a motion to approve the recommendation by Dr. Bender.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation to enter into year 2 contract with Airmark.
Second.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve entering into the year 2 contract agreement with Airmark as presented by Dr. Bender. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
I would say that with that, we've done extensive work to the cafeteria for the students and the serving lines, and Airmark doing some extensive work, and right before COVID-19, they were getting ready to add a line. And so the cafeteria is going to have all new furniture, all new paint, all new flooring. It looks really nice. As we get into the year and we see how much money we have left over, the mauve gate that we have that closes off the kitchen, we're going to look at replacing that. So the cafeteria will have a complete renovation. Then the next phase will be the actual kitchens. So Jake Reekin has been working on copiers with Lane Company. In the past, we have had 5 copiers that we pay for a lease agreement for 4 years. And then when that lease agreement's up, it's a lease to own. We own those, and they go into phase 2, which is usually in the offices. And then the ones in our offices are usually 8 years, and they go elsewhere to the school. What Jake is requesting that we do is we move from 5 copiers that the corporation pays for to 7. And with that, he's going to reduce 3 printers that were probably 1990, mid-90 models, and get rid of those. During his negotiations, the base pay is currently $1,224. It's going to go up to $1,425. But on the usage side, we're currently paying 0.0062 per copy, and he's dropping the black and white copies to 0.0055, and the colored copies are 0.073, and it's dropping to 0.065. So we're going to get a savings on our copies, so of usage. So I think it's a pretty good deal, and it's got some good merit behind it. And I think getting rid of those old printers will save us some money. So I'm recommending that we accept Jake Reekin's request to enter into a new lease agreement with Wayne.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the copier agreement.
Second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve entering into a new lease agreement with Lane regarding the copiers as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
No action needed on this item. We did get guidance from the state this past Friday on opening school. It's very extensive. The document is about 37 pages long, and I would say there's 150 links in it, and I'm not exaggerating. There's a lot of links for us to review and look at. The Study Council for Southern Indiana is meeting Wednesday. The superintendents are getting together at Warwick County, and we're going to dissect and review the documents and talk about how we can reopen schools in Southern Indiana. I've also been on the phone with Matt at Mount Vernon, and we want to try to do something in unification as Posey County as whole. So we're going to be working on that, and we'll be able to get out guidance, hopefully sooner than later, so the public knows exactly what we're going to do and what we're going to be able to do to enter back into school. And then, do you have anything with that?
As far as the COVID-19.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So we'll be getting with you, and I'll be letting you know what we come up with to get school open. And right now, our plan is to open up on time coming to school. So we're going to take into effect as many of these guidances as we can. Title IX.
Title IX, if you recall, promised to come back to this board meeting with a draft. And just to review, Title IX final rule is sexual harassment, and they've added that to the other Title IX guidelines. Title IX final rule, though, also encompasses sexual harassment between student and student. So I got a hold of Kelly Whitman, I believe that's her name, from the IDOE to see about the Indiana guidance to help us write our policy. I don't know if they're just behind because of COVID-19, because we need a policy in place in July, so then we meet the August deadline. Indiana's behind as far as interpreting the federal law regarding Title IX final rule. They said it should just be coming out within days. So after we get that guidance, then I would recommend a committee to be formed to go ahead and put those policy and procedures in place. There's mandatory training for that as well, which S-Craft has our training as far as the insurance company that hits all the required trainings. We're looking into seeing if they can add to the sexual harassment training that we currently use to cover that end of it, the additional end of it. We went ahead and assigned district points of contact in case there would be a case prior to the implementation of a policy or procedure. And we wanted each gender to be represented, and that the students or faculty member could then have a choice on the investigative officer. So Aaron Kester is going to act as a point of contact, and as well as Sean Fisher. So that would be 2 people on that committee. And I guess we'll have to discuss who else you want to be on that committee as far as forming the policy and procedures. I guess the first thing we do is get the guideline from the state and then go from there. Any questions about that? It's going to be one of those things we're about to hit the ground running after they get the guidance to us. So, in July, the July board meeting, you may want to go ahead and look at that draft, approve the draft, and then if you want to make any additional changes in August, do so at that time, just so that we have something to have in place at the beginning of school, because we could always adjust as we go on that policy.
Next on the list is professional leave. I'd like to ask the board to approve the professional leave as listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional leave as listed.
Second.
I'll second it.
So a motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the professional leave request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
Under reports, you have the fuel report and the project update, just the sewer system going from the building out to the school system is underway. We did run into a little problem. The tree right there at the baseball field that provides shade is going to have to come down. The roots have entangled all the power lines. There is no way to get by it without destroying the root system. So it's going to have to come down. We have, with California being locked down and closed down for so long, the turf people that put in our turf on our field, we're not 100% for sure when they're going to get back, but they're working with them to try to get them back to finish that. But everything else seems to be moving along pretty good. They have the building pretty much ready to go for the turf and for the finishing touches for the locker room and concession stand. We are moving with the new sewer system for the school, the new drop box and the new line out to the sewer pit. So we're taking care of that. And like, as I said, the cafeteria has been completed. The new domestic water in the junior high is all but complete. Because of COVID-19, some of the pricing that he had put in place was lower because he didn't have to work around us so much. And so we are going to get a credit. Danny had a few things that we're going to go ahead and cover, but we're going to get a little bit of credit back from that. And that'll be represented on the AIA document that he'll provide us. So we'll have a reduction in there, but the projects are going along pretty good. We have a couple of new little small projects with a storm drain water that we're going to have to fix some sinkholes. But other than that, everything is moving along pretty good. Any questions on the projects? I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bender.
Thank you. I'm just going to take the time to just acknowledge everyone that's meant so much to me over my career. It looks like a lengthy document, but it's just really big font so I could read it. And I wanted to write it down so I wouldn't miss anybody too. Thank you for the opportunity to say my farewells. I'd like to thank, of course, the board for the opportunity to serve the North Posey community. And recently I came across a document that the Retired Superintendents Association put together in hopes of offering help to school boards when finding replacements for district office administrators. And I know some of the characteristics that they had put in place on their list are the same ones that I always aspired to. So if you don't mind me reading just a little bit, I didn't put everything on the list on here, but one is to be a lifelong learner, be a responsible citizen, be honest and truthful, be civil and respectful of others, be compassionate and empathetic, be a team player and collaborator, be respectful of the role of media, be an effective communicator and servant leader, be an advocate for an inclusive and diverse society, and be able to receive, fact check, and understand data. So some of these things are easier to hit than others. And then whenever it's a time of crisis, it can become even more challenging to display these behaviors while performing your other duties. And that's when I think that the school board support for central office administrators and principals is just so vital to be able to do your job to the fullest extent possible, I would say. In the collective actions of this board and the board prior to you, I've always felt supported. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for your time and effort to our community too in this role, because I know you put a lot of time in and get very little pay for it. So some other people that I would like to thank. Oh, just a minute. I was going to give you a shout out about your transparency. I feel like that your efforts to become more transparent, it's obvious that we have improved in that area. I know recently there's been on social media some people that feel like we need more transparency. However, I don't know if that's going to be attainable because of the FERPA, HIPAA, Article 7, 504 guidelines and employee rights laws that protect those individuals. So you can never get all of the facts out whenever we have an incident. But I think what you have in place now is probably as close to transparency as that we're going to be able to accommodate. So I just wanted to give you kudos on that. So I know that was important to this board. It was a privilege to work with the teachers and staff of North Posey as a school district. You'd be hard pressed to find any harder workers than what we have here. Their work ethic is just simply inspiring. Their creativity, the grit of going through this COVID-19, their passion they have for what they do, is to be commended. I could just go on and on. But I was blessed that so many times that when Indiana would issue through a new mandate or a new set of laws, and I had to be the one that broke it to the teaching staff and principals that we were going to have to do a new program, and that it was definitely going to impact the classroom. And I was fortunate that they never did want to kill the messenger. they were patient with me in that regard. I would also set up the logistics of how a program in my mind I thought would work in compliance to the guidelines, and left room for them to make it their own. And they always surpassed my expectations, the staff here and the teachers here. Recently, that was a case with our one-to-one initiative and integrating technology into the classroom. You know, we're working on our STEM certification too. They've taken that ball and ran with that. And then with COVID-19, when some school districts were doing virtual learning for the first time, we had already experienced that for a good 5 years going into that. So that's all being said about the willingness of our teachers to try new things and new initiatives. I want to thank Dave Kaler, the president of the Teacher Association, for his willingness to model civil discourse during negotiations and with labor issues. That's oftentimes what's missing from our society right now is just civil discussion. And we didn't always see eye to eye on certain topics, but we had a mutual respect for each other's role and always seemed to compromise, reach a compromise that both parties could live with. I'm a firm believer that strong teacher association creates a better management team. At any time we can sit down and discuss working conditions, wages, and benefits in a routine and open manner, it makes the whole school district a healthier organization. I want to thank the central office staff, the group that handles the inner workings of the school district. They work long hours and produce excellent work in handling the district's finances, benefits, salaries, purchases, and state reports. Not without comment, of course, but it gets done, and it gets done quite well. So I'm going to have a big thank you to the administrative team. We have a very strong and competent administrative team. Even though there was critical times with the COVID-19 restrictions and social unrest, at my retirement, I'm confident that we'll be able to get through this in the best situation scenario possible because of the strength of our administrative team. I don't think I would have been able to retire without full knowledge of the skills that that team possesses. So it's never a good time really to say I'm going to retire, but I'm confident that this is the time. They have been a great support to me both privately and professionally, and I'll always be indebted to them for their kindness. Excuse me. I want to give a special thanks to Dr. Todd Kemp for hiring me and believing in me that I could successfully make the transition from navigating special education law, like Article 7, 504, to make the adjustment to No Child Left Behind, ESSA, and all the Indiana codes governing the management of public schools. Thank you for the freedom to compete and complete my work and express my creativity without feeling micromanaged. I also want to take a moment to reassure you that any time that we have differed in our opinions in the past, I take comfort in knowing that I was always right. To my family and children, Jeremiah, Bill, Elijah, and Chloe, thank you for the patience while I was advancing in my career, resulting in me spending more time away from the family. I thank you for your support and encouragement. I've always found the perfect balance between work and family to be a challenge, and there is times I get better than others. I'm looking forward to more quality family time in the future. I'm also looking forward to attending athletic events as Harold step grandmother rather than district administrator. To my husband, Bill, thank you for your support, and I hope you're looking forward to more time together, travel, and a plethora of home projects.
Sincerely.
Posey is blessed with students who are motivated to excel both academically and athletically. We certainly have a great student body, and it's easier to be a school administrator when you have such wonderful students as we have here. This says a lot about the students and their families. North Posey has a very bright future ahead. We have day schools, blue ribbon schools. We have newly remodeled buildings, new athletic facilities, new technology, highly trained teachers, administrators, and staff, and we are financially stable. We just need to get our students back. So, thanks again. It's been an honor to serve the North Posey community.
Very well said, yeah.
Thank you.
As always.
As always, that's right.
Thank you.
Very good.
I take comfort in knowing you were always right too.
But it was very unprofessional of me to do my I told you so.
We have a gift for Angie that we will give to her at a going away party. So we'll do that at a later time. Next school board meeting is Monday, July the 13th, 2020. Regular meeting at 5:30. Executive session at 5:30, regular meeting at 6:30. That's all I have.
Anybody have anything else for the good of the cause? All right. Well, I will reiterate the fact that it's been an honor and a privilege for us to have you as an employee. You've done an outstanding job for us, and we wish you well in your retirement and best of luck getting those home improvement projects done. Odds are in her favor. Figured as much. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
So a motion by Mr. Stock, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to adjourn. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you.